Got it. Thank you much. So I've already got one LMNT down, my ready to drink that I did on the podcast. This will be my second one for the day. We're gonna go citrus. Look at Jerry, how sweet Jerry is. Jerry went and she's following the journey, obviously, and heard me complaining about the plastic. So she hooked me up with the LMNT Yeti bottle, which is like a really nice one. Shout out to Jerry, going above and beyond all the time. We love you, Jerry. What would we do without you? I don't know. Definitely be a lot less organized, that's for sure. The amount of people responsible for this thing to go. One of these days I'll count up everybody. I think we're approaching 20, something like that. Plus contractors and part-time people. There's a lot of help. I'm gonna do the pill form aminos too. And we're about a week away from me doing the body fat test. Well, pretty excited. We've been following my Instagram story. I weighed in yesterday morning and this morning at 209 pounds. Now, that's a little heavier than I thought I wanted to be, but I still got abs, so that makes me happy. So I think if I was getting really soft in the midsection in my waistline and I put on that much weight, I'd be really concerned. But considering abs are in full effect and my waistline looks pretty good, I'm not too worried about that. In fact, I would rather go up in weight, even though we're trying to reduce body fat. I'd rather go up on the scale than to go down too fast, for sure, because I'm really trying to build back all this muscle. So I'm pretty excited to lift today because I took 2 days off in a row. I haven't had 2 days off in a row in a while. And that wasn't planned or scheduled. I just ended up doing a ton of stuff at my house. We were moving stuff from our storage, getting all the Halloween stuff out, moved a bunch of lumber. So I was doing a bunch of manual labor. And again, I'm not eating a ton of calories. And I really want to make sure that any additional calories I eat get partitioned over to building muscle. And so sometimes what I'll do on a day like that where I have unscheduled labor, and it's pretty laborious where I'm sweating my butt off and working for a couple hours, that might be the day I take off lifting. So I probably could have, but I figured give my body another day to fully recover, come in here on Monday, really get after it. So this week, calories, or the last 7 days, I should say, are now averaging over 3,000. And so one of the questions I've been getting in DMs is, how do I decide how much I'm going to increase my calories? I'm actually not even at that phase where I'm really worried about a few hundred calories more or less right now, as much as I am consistently hitting my protein intake and consistently feeding my body when it feels hungry and making the meals protein centric. So the key to that is the protein centric piece. You have to understand that. Like if I just ate when I was hungry and I chose whatever I wanted to eat, or I snacked on bullshit, well, we wouldn't be here, or we wouldn't be heading down the right path. But as long as I make the rule that, okay, if I'm hungry, I don't care if it's 10 o'clock at night, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna eat, but I'm just gonna make that a protein meal, right? Protein centric, meaning it's a good 30, 40 grams of protein. I'm going to allow myself to do that. I'm going to feed the body when it's hungry. So I'm not even at a place yet where I'm calculating, oh, wow, I'm at 2,800 calories last week. Now I'm only going to go up 200 exactly. No, I'm just tracking, hitting protein. If I'm hungry, I eat. And it's kind of naturally just going up, which is all good. I want to see strength go up. I want to see muscle come back on. If I add 5, 10, 15 pounds of muscle, I'm going to be needing to eat a lot more calories. Just a fact. There's no way I'm going to put 15 pounds of muscle on this frame and not get myself up over 3,000 calories. And part of that's just experience of knowing what a 220 pound jacked version of me has to eat. You know, I got to eat, once I get 215, 220, I've got to be eating 4,000 plus calories. I'm barely over 3,000 right now. So I definitely got to allow myself to creep up. So I'm not really worried about if it's a couple hundred too high or not. And as long as we're feeling good, abs are still in place, and we're getting stronger, that's all I care about. So I'm going to start with squats. We're going to get some leg swings. I don't want to hit that camera. So we're going to get 4 sets of squats. I'm pretty excited to do this because since we've been lifting, and since I got 2 days rest, this is about the freshest my legs have felt since we've started. So I hope we will see an increase in weight today, even if it's just a little bit. We also are approaching the final week of, I think, following the MAPS 15 protocol. I think I'm gonna move to either a upper lower split or I think I'm gonna move to like a MAPS anabolic. I haven't decided yet, so we'll see.
Adam do aerobics.
This is why I could actually squat acid grass, and Sal would be stuck on the ground if he ever went down that low. So I haven't really addressed why the leg swings. The leg swings became an important primer for me heading into squats. Primes the glute med, okay, which is also the muscle responsible for the knees pushing out. So a lot of times when people squat, you'll see the knees cave inward. And a lot of times that's because they have a poor connection or really weak glute med. So part of your butt that keeps the knees from caving in and pushes the knees out. So me doing the leg swings kind of primes and wakes that muscle up. So as I drop into the hole, I'm thinking about the knees open. I'm not thinking about pushing my knees out really wide. I just want to keep them from wanting to collapse inward. One of the ways of doing that is priming that glute med by doing leg swings. So leg swings, you get some of that obviously in the 90-90 progressions that we're doing. So it's not like I'm not getting that at all on that. I'm getting that, and then I really want to prime it again on here before I go. So one of my favorite. Let me prime the hamstrings real quick, and then we'll get to work. Oh, yeah. Okay. So we're going to start at the 135. I'm going to keep the reps around 10, even if I can do 12 or more, because I do want to go up in weight today, even if that means I have to drop reps a little bit. So we're going to hover right around 10, I think. Let's see how this bad boy feels. Oh, yeah. Boy, did that feel good. We aren't going to mess around. We're going to go right up. It felt really good. Feels good to feel good. Boy, I tell you what, if we could just solve this chest issue, man. So I took all of last week off. No chest stuff. This week, I'm going to introduce some cables and bands, real light, just to get some blood pumping. One of the bummers about the whole pec tear is obviously the goal of this whole series is to build as much muscle as I can in a short period of time. My chest is a big muscle, and so I'm going to lose out on those gains that I could get. So it is what it is. It's life. People got bigger problems than that. I get it. But that would be a huge advantage if I could. So it's kind of a bummer I can't. And I actually could tell, you know, I'm taking progress pics and analyzing my physique. Now that it's starting to come together a little bit, now I can really tell, like, oh shit, my chest looks weak. So it's kind of a bummer. But luckily I had a pretty decent one to start with, so I can afford to lose a little bit right now. But that's definitely an area we want to get better, get back to hitting on all cylinders. Okay, 185, let's take it for a ride. Let's see what she feels like. Oh, yeah. Yes, sir, that feels good. All right, new territory. All right, so we're up in weight, 205. So, bar height on where to rack it on the squat rack. Actually took me many times of making this mistake and looking like a clown, dumping weights and dropping shit before I figured this out. So I like where the bar's at is just above nipple line. Here, even down a little bit's okay, because what I want is I don't want to look at where it needs to be racked. I want to look straight ahead and cling and come straight down. What happens is people rack it so high that they got to kind of lift it up, and they focus on one side. What they don't realize is when they are putting this side on, this side drifts off, or vice versa, and then they miss on one side, and then it's this crazy mess. You want to set it up to where you have to get under and do a little quarter squat out, so that when I step back in, I don't got to even look at the sides. I just go, bing. As soon as I feel the bar, I come down, it'll slide it right onto the hooks. One of those lessons that somebody didn't teach me, I just learned the hard way. Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. That feels light enough to keep going. But this is a new PR for us right now. And I'm not gonna need to. So already overloading. One more set too is gonna feel incredible. That's great. 135, 185, 205, 205. By next week, we'll be squatting 2 plates again. And on our way. So, of course, we're gonna get the mechanic police and the people that wanna pick apart and critique form. So a couple thoughts on that. First of all, I'm a forever work in progress. I don't think I have a perfect anything form and technique wise, especially with big compound lifts, squatting, deadlifting, overhead pressing. Name the lift. I'll tell you where I have challenges and where I'm working. So absolutely there's always improvement to be made. So, and trust me, I know as well or better than you do about my body and where I break down. So there's that. As far as the butt wink is one of the more controversial things to talk about because there is a, based off of your morphology and what your hips look like. Some of us have kind of a little bit borderline lordosis in the lower spine, right? Where you have this kind of extra curve, your butt sticks out a little bit, you have kind of an anterior pelvic tilt. And so there's a bit of this winking or shifting at the bottom of a squat. Now, anybody who sat all the way down, ass to grass, the hips will do that. As you all the way, when you're at the very bottom, sink down in there a tiny bit. I could shorten the range up by about 3 inches and eliminate that little bit of a wink at the bottom. Where I don't worry about it is I'm fine. If I felt low back stress or it bothered me at all, it would be an area that I would be concerned. And so that's where the real question becomes when someone has what looks like a butt wink is, do you feel that in your low back? Does that bother your low back? Does it feel like your low back gets all pumped up? It used to be like that for me, not anymore. So I do have a little bit of that at the very, very bottom of the squat, but it doesn't bother at all. It's not unnatural for your pelvic to go in or out a tiny bit, so long as it's controlled and stable. If you have no control of it, it's weak, and then it puts stress on the low back, it's a problem. So that hopefully solves the butt wink controversy on the internet. You'll see, that's why you see so many prolific people in the space that will say it's bullshit, and then other people that are really smart and prolific say it's very much so a thing. Well, it depends. That's really the answer. And if you were a client of mine and I'm teaching and helping you, if you were telling me you felt that in your low back when we squatted ass to grass, I 100% would solve that. When I squat, I feel it in my glutes and my legs. Let's go get some. Oh, yes, sir. Oh, I felt good. Oh, I felt good. Something exciting about feeling that strength slowly come back. Catch my breath, then we're gonna do some shoulder work. I told you originally, Dylan, we're gonna do the barbell press. I actually think I'm gonna dumbbell press. So I'm gonna take this at a bit of an incline. So from that camera, you can see this. This would be more of a true shoulder press. This engages my upper chest a little bit more. Still mostly shoulders, but a little bit of chest. So the thought process for me is I can't quite hit heavy chest or put too much stress all on the chest. So if I can do some of these movements for my shoulders and I can incorporate a little bit of my chest, I can still get a little bit of that while also still working my shoulders. Let's start with 40s. We'll go from there. Two down, you get two more. Hardest part of this journey right now is being patient, man. As it is, I'm sure, for everybody. So easy to want to push and do more when you feel like doing more. It's been wild too, considering how much I'm targeting protein, how hard it is still to hit. That's why I think people are so full of shit when they think they eat enough protein. Maybe if you're 130 pounds, but I don't know a lot of people that eat 200 grams of protein every day consistently, and I have to really focus on it if I'm gonna hit it. Cool part though is so much focus on the protein that I haven't had any desire for shit food at all. I mean, the biggest treat or bad food that I've allowed myself to have is some Five Guys. Get a burger wrap every now and then, handful of fries, call it a day. Other than that, I haven't had any desires for anything that's not that good for me. Okay. See how these 60s feel. I think I'm gonna try and stay covered up for a little while. Psychological game I play with myself. I always feel like there's like these kind of peaks and valleys in the journey of like feeling good, looking good, not so much. And obviously when you're feeling good, looking better, that's when you're on your high. But then you have these periods where you feel like you're eating well, feel like you're training consistently, and the body doesn't feel like it's changing much. And it's real easy to get in your head. One of the ways that I always make sure that doesn't happen is when I get in those little periods of like, okay, I've got the first initial high of seeing change in the physique, getting better. Now I'm at this like lull. I'll probably be here for a couple weeks before I see another incremental change. And so I'll wear bigger, baggier clothes, stay kind of covered up. That way I'm not constantly staring at myself in the mirror, analyzing if I look worse or better. Stay the course. I know what I'm doing. The work is in the diet. The work is in improving sleep. The work is in hitting that protein intake. I'm in here just having fun, touching the muscles. This ain't a big deal. Don't let the ups and downs of the mirror or the scale fuck with me too much. And be patient. I don't think we had done 60-pound dumbbell presses yet. That felt good. We'll get one more set with that. Get one more set with that, and then I'm gonna do a rear delt exercise. And then we'll call it. Oh. Oh. Okay. Cut that one short. I think we stay right here. And I'm gonna do some reverse flies off of this. Show you guys something that's a little tip here. All right. We're gonna do some reverse flies. We're gonna use this just for support. So I'll lean over. This will just help keep just feedback for me to keep myself in a fixed position. I also want to protract and round forward, and then remember the cue to fly out. Definitely feel like the pace of the workout's picking up a little bit too. Not only are we increasing weight a tiny bit, so is our movement as we move through set after set. Nah, not yet. We're still a long ways away from that stuff. Those are all tools in the tool belt, you know? Big rocks right now. Keep the calories around where they're at. Hit the protein intake. Lift consistently. Each time I lift a lift, try and lift a little bit more weight than what I did before. It's pretty simple right now. That stuff gets like, that's too why I think it's funny that all the most famous people on Instagram that are rightfully so smart or fit or whatever, the stuff they communicate a lot of times is kind of where they're at in their fitness journey. Training consistently for 5 years in a row, plateaued hard, so all the ways to break through those or get past that, where it's like somebody who's kind of either just starting their journey or just getting back in shape. There's only a few major knobs to turn that get you or pretty far before you have to really start messing with rest periods and tweaking shit like that. Okay. 209, Dylan, 10 pounds up already. Good amount of water, glycogen. You know, I probably was eating maybe on a good day 2,000, 2,400 calories, maybe. Now I'm crushing 3,000 and taking creatine and drinking a gallon of water. So I like to think I gained 10 pounds of muscle, but I doubt it. So now if we're really lucky, we added 4 or 5 pounds of muscle or more if we're lucky, and we lost a couple pounds of fat. That would be a huge win. I have no idea what to expect though. We'll see. I think what's important is that I prepare for the worst, right? Like, so a horrible situation would be I barely moved body fat percentage wise. I barely added any muscle or barely lost any body fat. So mentally preparing myself around, okay, if so, don't stress. We can make some adjustments. Now, those that are watching might be like, okay, well then what would you do? Well, it depends. Did I add some muscle but also put body fat on, or did I lose muscle? Did I lose body? Like, so we first have to see the results. Based off of what I see, if they're not good, I'm mentally prepared for it. And then depending on how they're not good, right? Obviously losing muscle would not be good. Obviously adding body fat would not be good. And if it's one of those, then I'll make corrections. That could be reducing calories if I actually put on a bunch of body fat. I doubt it's that. Most likely, I just haven't added a lot of muscle yet. And maybe I haven't burned body fat. I haven't lost a lot of body fat, I should say. Which that's okay, because right now the focus is to build muscle and build my metabolism up. I'd be far better off if I lost no body fat or I lost no fat at all, and I've added a few pounds of muscle, because I'd rather keep going that way. I'd rather keep going slow, not technically leaning out much, but building my metabolism, because if I'm gonna cut, I need to cut somewhere from much higher than 3,000. I'd like my calories to be north of 4,000 calories before I decide, okay, let's cut and get shredded now. That way, when I go from 4,000 to 3,500 or say 3,200, I lean out and I'm still eating good enough calories. I'm finding that just to hit 200 grams of protein, I got to eat at least 2,800 calories. So I never want to go much lower than that, or else I'm probably going to sacrifice muscle. So depending on the results, or if I'm lucky, we got the best of both worlds and we just stay the course. But nonetheless, I won't be discouraged. Just use it as a tool to sharpen everything. All right, D. Let's get ready for this call with 15 minutes to spare so I can eat. You know what we haven't talked about is the anabolic window, eating right after you work out. I think that's so funny. The only time that I ever really stressed eating right afterwards was when I got to a place where I was eating 4,500 to 5,000 calories a day. It was hard to find times when I could eat. And so I found pounding a shake, like right now, I could drink that. By the time I drove home, showered and got changed from the gym, I'd be hungry and I could eat a full meal. So the most value I ever found in doing that was during those periods of time. Otherwise, if I'm in a cut, I'm normally not that hungry after I work out, so I would just prolong how long I ate before I ate the next meal. But the research on the anabolic window is so gray and splitting hair that doesn't matter. It's more important that you hit your protein target. If you need that meal or that shake to do that, then by all means do it. But you can get pretty freaking jacked and never worry about the anabolic window ever.